Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everybody. This evening on page 128 of the Devi Gita, we're going to discuss chapter 6. And the goddess said to the gods, "Who is so fortunate as to see this greatly wonderful cosmic form? This capacity to have perceived me is only attained through sincere devotion." Guy, sounds like somebody I know would have written that. "Not the study of the Vedas, nor the practice of yoga, nor the giving of gifts, nor purifying austerities can make my inconceivable form perceivable. Only through my grace," and that's called kripa. Kri means do and pa means get. "Only through my grace can this form be seen. O Lord of Kings, listen. Please listen. The Supreme Soul becomes an individual soul because of his nature. By union with attributes, upadhis, he thinks himself to be an actor, an enjoyer, etc. He thinks, I am the doer. Because of his connection with all the attributes and all the various distinctions. He performs various actions of dharma and adharma, manifesting the ideal of perfection and in derogation of the ideal, and attains birth in various wombs, experiencing pleasure and pain accordingly. It's that one Supreme Soul. He became an individual soul. And because of his union with all the attributes and with all the gunas and with all the characteristics, with all the various qualities of nature, he has to keep manifesting action again and again and again. Again, because of all actions performed during these births, he collects numerous tendencies, a sanskara, a bhashana, a propensity, a tendency, a necessity, a compelling necessity to act or interact in certain ways. Makes habits of action, which cause him to wear various bodies without end, and always he experiences pleasures and pains. If you got a body, you either like it or you don't. If you don't like it, well then, you're going to experience the pain anyway. The cycle of births and deaths continues with the regularity of time, literally with the regularity of a water wheel. So just like a water wheel just keeps going, the cycle of births and deaths keeps going without cessation. Ignorance is the root of this, from which arises desire. And action must follow. So we all ignorantly continue to make these choices, and some of them are good choices, and some of them are bad choices, and some of them are wise choices, and some of them are ill-advised. And these choices cause us to act. They give birth to desire. Because you want some effect to come from the action, and then the action follows from desire. So you have Icha, Kriya, Jnana, Shakti. These three Shaktis are inherent to the three qualities of nature. Desire, action, and wisdom. And thus, humanity should eternally attempt to destroy ignorance. Because when you make foolish choices, you gotta live with it. Life has succeeded in attainment of perfection when ignorance has been destroyed. The highest goal is attained by an individual soul when he becomes liberated during his manifested existence. And knowledge is the only thing that has the capacity to destroy ignorance. If you want to destroy ignorance, the only remedy is knowledge. And through knowledge you'll cultivate wisdom, and through wisdom you can create that illumination where you have that supreme devotion by which you can make the right choices. O mountain. Remember, she's telling this to Himalayas. The actions performed in the presence of ignorance can only again create ignorance. So if you make foolish choices from an ignorant attitude, pursuing ill-advised goals or undefined desires, then you're not going to get the fruit that you want. You're going to get the fruit of ignorance. Such actions cannot destroy ignorance. You got to use wisdom to destroy ignorance. Sorry, guys, there's just no hope. Either you have wisdom or you live with the ignorance. There's no way to destroy the ignorance by ignorant actions. Then it cannot be anticipated that ignorance can be destroyed by actions. You can only destroy ignorance through realization of wisdom. Again, actions do not give this effect of destroying ignorance. Again and again, some result is desired from action. You've got an icha, you've got a desire, and then you have kriya, and you have an action. And then you have wisdom. You understand, what are the ramifications of my action? What are the probable outcomes that I'm going to seek? How do I define my actions according to my sankalpa so I achieve, according to my plan, the fruits of my aspiration? I want to keep going in my positive direction. I do not want ad hoc, ill-advised actions born of ignorance. Again and again, some result is desired from action, attachment arises from desire, and some fault will make the attainment fall short of perfection. Therefore, humanity should put forth every effort to attain wisdom. Since action is mandated for existence, therefore all are bound to act. The ultimate liberation arises only from wisdom. Therefore, action with wisdom is a helper in the path of liberation. Action without wisdom is not going to bring you to realization. Thus, some say that wisdom and action cannot be in opposition. How can they be in opposition? You have the path of karma, they have the path of gyan. They're not separate paths. Wisdom cuts the knots of the heart, while action makes this possible. It is not possible for opposites to be effective simultaneously. It is not possible for darkness and light to exist simultaneously. Therefore, wisdom and action cannot be in opposition. So if you say the path of Gyan is this way and the path of karma is this way, that's impossible. It's a logical fallacy. You can't do karma without wisdom. Therefore, all action should be performed with wisdom to the best of one's ability until chitta shuddhi, the purification of consciousness, is attained. Sama, Dhamma, Titiksha, Vairagyam, Satyasambhava. Until these are entirely attained, there is nothing greater than action. Shama is inner peace. Dhamma, compassion. Titiksha, to be beyond duality. Vairagya, indifference or freedom from attachment. Satyashambhava, the establishment of truth within. Until these are entirely attained, there is nothing greater than action. But action with wisdom, not foolish action. Only after this attainment may one be a sannyasi. Actually, nyas means to establish within, and sat means truth. A sannyas is one within whom truth has been established, or who establishes truth within, or establishes himself within truth. Such a one should take refuge with a guru in communion with her own soul, who knows the 3 Vedas, Srotriya, who is efficient in the practices of union with the Supreme, who is devoted, who is free from all deception. If you find that kind of guru, let me know. You should take refuge in a guru such as that. There he should listen to the wisdom of Vedanta, and we are defining Veda, the Anta, the ultimate of Veda wisdom, or what is to be known, the ultimate of that which is to be known. And always contemplate these meanings as well as the statements of the various tattvas, the principles. And remember, we have different enumerations of various principles. According to Vaisheshik philosophy, there are 14 principles. According to Sankhya philosophy, there are 24 principles. According to Tantra philosophy, there are 36 principles. Take refuge in the meanings of the principles. Move step by step through the path. How do you control your gross body, your subtle body, and your causal body until you move to beyond? The statements of the various principles give the knowledge that the individual soul is one with the Supreme Soul. All of them. No matter which philosophy and which set of statements, which set of principles we use, they will tell us that the Atma, or Jiv, is in union with the Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. When this identity is realized, one becomes free from fear and attains my form. First, one should understand the meaning of the syllable or of the statement, then the meaning of the entire sentence. Each syllable of the statement, and then the meaning of the entire sentence. The word tat, O mountain, is famous as I, literally defined as that, the totality of existence. Tat means all existence. The meaning of the word tvam is only jiva, or literally defined as you, the individual soul. Of this there is no doubt. That both tat and tvam are one is known by the word asi. Tat tvam asi. That thou art. The apparent oppositions of the word tat and tvam, tat implying omniscience, omnipresence, and other universal qualities, while tvam suggests non-omniscience and other characteristics of a limited nature, is prohibited by osi. It says, you are. They are one, only one is contained within the other. By definition, they are united in the principle as has been established in the scriptures. Pure consciousness is the goal of this union. From this union does oneness arise. Towards this oneness proceeds all wisdom, wherein the two do not admit of division. So you have this, the universe and the Supreme Soul are one. Tat tvam asi. You are that. And that is the goal of all wisdom. Remember, as we studied vibrations and sounds and definitions, we had Voidic Sabda, which are words of wisdom which take us to the oneness. And Bhautika Shabda, which are words which describe our relations to the outside world. So here we're saying the outside world, there are certain vibrations which take us out, and there are certain vibrations which bring us in. And towards this oneness proceeds all wisdom. Wisdom, Gyan, takes us into union with the one. And Vigyan, science, takes us out to the descriptions of the outside world. Devdutt, the gift from God, is a man's name which is indicative of the average reasonable man. Stands for, John Smith or Joe Dokes or the average reasonable man is a legal term, is only the name of a man. In this way, we remember the figurative definition, the lakshana of a word. When a man abandons his gross body, he attains supreme divinity. So you call on the lakshana, the definition, the definition of the individual form and the definition of the ideal form. John, George, Paul, and Ringo are the names of many men. And John and Paul and George and Ringo may leave their bodies, but the idea of man will never leave. Mankind will endure. So the idea of man is different, is distinguished from the definition of individual forms. In the same way, the ideal of divinity is that union, the supreme consciousness. He is different from the individual jivas, is distinguished from the individual souls, which are embodied in a specific form. When a man abandons his gross body, he attains supreme divinity. By the process known as panchikrit, the great elements of existence come into being. We discussed the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And from the various combinations of these elements comes the gross body. This is the repository of all experience, of old age, affliction, and all action. These elements have no true existence because they are always changing. Like bursting flashes of light, manifestations of Maya. O Lord of mountains, all of these gross attributes are conceptions of my mind. When the organs of knowledge and the organs of action are united with the 5 vital breaths, prana, apana, dhyana, udana, samana, then the mind and the intellect, the man and the buddhi, alone form the Shukshma Sharir, which is the subtle body, known by inspired poets. That means all the rishis and all the poets who described this process of moving from the gross body to the subtle body said, when your 5 breaths unite with your mind and your intellect, you leave the gross body and you come into the subtle body. From the great elements of existence which did not come into manifested being through the Panchikrita process, the subtle body of this great soul manifests. So now we're talking about the 5 elements that exist in the subtle body, not in the gross body. This is the second attribute wherein exists the knowledge of pleasure and pain. It's all in your mind. It's only a thought. And if it's a painful thought, then change the thought, and the pain will go away. When you're sitting in your asana, you say, oh, the cramp in my foot. Oh, the pain in my hip. Oh, the cramp in my back. Just change your thought, and you'll forget all about the pain. So the existence of the knowledge of pleasure and pain is the second attribute which only exists in the subtle body. It's a thought. This ignorance is without beginning, indescribable, and is the third attribute. The illumination of this body, mind, and soul is performed by the causal soul, the Karanatma, and otherwise called the causal body, O Lord of mountains. When all these attributes cease from production or attachment, only the soul remains. The 3 bodies and the 5 sheets, the Annamaya and the Pranamaya and the Manamaya and the Jnanamaya and the Anandamaya, the 5 sheets, the Panchkosh, the 5 colorings, or consistencies. I said it, consistency. The consistency of matter, consistency meaning of the thickness, the thickness, the elements, the Consistency. What will you say? The elements. All right. The consistency of matter, the consistency of air. That means matter, you can touch it. And air, you can feel it. And the consistency of thought, well, you can see it inside, but you can't see it outside. The consistency of one-pointed light or wisdom, and the consistency of the bliss of infinite consciousness form the inner residence always. When one abandons or moves beyond the 5 seats, these 5 panchkosha, you go beyond the Anandamaya Kosh, Brahmapuch, the ultimate end of divinity, the ultimate of divinity is attained. This is my form. And has been described in various ways as neti neti, not this and not that, meaning not limited to any form. It is not born, nor does it die. We've heard this before. Never at any time did it not exist, nor can anything exist without it. It is unborn, eternal, everlasting, ancient, and it is not slain with the body. If one thinks it is slain or thinks it is the slayer, both of them do not know, for it does not kill, nor can it be killed. It is subtler than the subtlest, and greater than the greatest, as a baby within the womb. Seeing the activities born of darkness and remaining free from all sorrow, these are the blessings of its greatness. So it gets to see, it gets to be the witness. It becomes the consciousness, the Chaitanya, which perceives all that is known as the continual transformation of all of all the actions born of ignorance and wisdom. Seeing the activities born of darkness and remaining free from all sorrow, these are the blessings of its greatness. The soul is known as the master of the chariot. The body is the chariot. The intellect is known as the driver, and the mind is the reins. The organs of knowledge and action are the horses, and all perceivable objects become concerns for attention. When the soul is united with the organs of knowledge and action and the mind, then it becomes enjoyer of all experience. Whoever is ignorant, unmindful, and always impure has no capacity to attain this wisdom. Sorry, but we could write it anyway. Such people remain in bondage to objects and relationships of the world. Who acts with this knowledge, who is mindful and always pure, such people attain the goal and become even greater. The human who keeps knowledge as his charioteer and keeps a tight rein on his mind becomes capable of the highest attainment. He is mine and resides in the highest abode. Thus, one should listen, contemplate, and deeply meditate, Sravanam Mananam Niditasanam, on the soul of all souls. With an attitude of intensity, one should deeply meditate upon the form of my soul. Before entering into the fullest and most complete union, one should deeply intuit, Bhavayid, the 3 letters encompassing all wisdom incorporated in the pranava. Pranavananda, namaste. In the pranava, the highest symbolic utterance of the goddess, the Devi Pranav. For the purpose of this meditation, the mantra is being explained. Please pay attention. The letter Ha means the gross body. Everything you can perceive empirically verify through the senses. While the letter Ra means the subtle body, Shukshma Sharir, all that you conceive in your mind and know through your dreams. forms. The letter E means the causal body. All that you know through meditation and through intuition, through feelings. And the anuswar, the indicates the turiya state, that which is beyond. Ring is the bija of Maya, the Devi Pranab. What can be perceived through the senses, what can be conceived in the mind, what can be known through intuition and beyond. All of Maya. And remember we discussed in the Kadi Vidya the three forms of ring? Well, here we're talking about ring in its highest form. In the ultimate of all that can be perceived through any means. And knowing these three letters to be the order of the universal body of existence, the aspirant will deeply intuit, babayin, the unity between the universal soul of existence and the individual body of a particular existence. Prior to the time of samadhi, listen up, kids. Prior to the time of samadhi, the pure intuitive absorption. Sa means all. Ma means the measurement. Dhi means the mind. All is the measurement of mind. Samadhi. Or mind is the measurement of all. Or the measurement of all is mind. Any way you want to use those three syllables. Samadhi. Prior to the time of samadhi, having deeply intuited, as previously described, all of Maya, hara, ring, rilekanyas. In the rilekanas, we deeply intuit, as previously described, ring. One should fix oneself in meditation on heavenly light, on the goddess, on me, on the supreme divinity of all existence. Make the inflowing breath equal to the outflowing breath, basprika, and destroy all movement within, pratyahar. Bring your senses to a cloister. Bring them all to one pointed focus. Offer attention only to that which is changeless, without modification. Chitta, vritti, nirod. No modification, no change, no movement is allowed. Which is changeless, be free from all defects such as jealousy and all the other ripus, kam, krodh, lobh, moh, modadi, matsarya. The devotee attaining to freedom from all afflictions unites in the cave of his breast. Ka'eilarim, ring is the cave. Hasakahalarim, ring is the cave. Sakalarim, ring is the cave. Unite in the cave of his breast or in the heart. The letter Ha, which is a substratum of the universe, will be dissolved into the letter Ra. So you're dissolving the gross body into the subtle body. The letter Ra, which is the light of the God, should be dissolved in the letter E. The letter E, which is the soul of individual intelligence, should be dissolved into Ring, which is all of Maya. And there, in this space, exists nothing about which is spoken, nor any speech by which to speak. Any attitude of duality is forbidden. There is no duality. Only the unity of Ring. It is indivisible Sat Chit Ananda. True existence, consciousness, and bliss, sitting within the highest part of the head. This is the meditation on me, O King, which the most excellent of humanity can actually perform. My form and your own self, both are one in continuous association, united in yoga. My universal soul soul, higher than the highest is perceived, all ignorance and its effects are immediately destroyed. Om. Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. Let's see if there are any questions about the meditation and the meaning of Hring.
We have a question from Sadhana Shakti.
Namaste, Sadhana.
Can you please talk about the difference between acting in stupidity and acting with ignorance?
No. Acting with stupidity is really blowing it. It's really making bad decisions without any information. Acting in ignorance could be a blunder. It could be a mistake. It could be, there are very subtle differences between the two. I would think acting with stupidity would be willful and malevolent. And acting with ignorance could be just not thinking and without a plan.
We have a question from Ambika.
Namaste, Ambika.
In verse 21 to 22, it talks about Tat Tvam Asi.
Yes, please.
Tat Tvam Asi and Om Tat Sat. What are their vibrational / subtle differences, and when would we use one over the other?
There are 4 Vedas. From the 4 Vedas came forth 4 tattvas, 4 principles. Now, they have different meanings and different applications. Om Tat Sat means Om, that is truth. Om is the pranava, or the pranam, the bij mantra, the subtle sound of the universe, of all consciousness. Now, Tat Tvam Asi says that is you. That's what you are. So the meanings are a little bit different. Now, from the 4 Vedas, from the Rig Veda came the statement that said Pragyanam Brahma, the highest knowledge, the highest wisdom of nature is the supreme divinity. From Yajurveda came the statement Tat Tvam Asi, that is you. You are that highest wisdom of supreme divinity. From Atharva Veda came forth the statement, I am Atma Brahma. This soul is the supreme divinity. And from the Sama Veda came Tat Tvam Asi. Praganyam Brahma. From the Sama Veda came Aham Brahmasmi. Praganyam Brahma. Tat Tvam Asi. I am Atma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. Those are 4 statements from the 4 Vedas. The ultimate wisdom of nature is the supreme divinity, Praganyam Brahma. Tat Tvam Asi, that is you. I am Atma Brahma. This soul is the supreme divinity, Aham Brahmasmi. I am the supreme divinity. Those are the 4 principles. Now, they all have subtle differences and distinctions, but they all take us to the same realization. Yes, please.
We have a question from Siddharthananda.
Yes, Siddharthananda, namaste.
In the Hrim mantra, E is the causal body and is that which is beyond. I thought that the causal body was that which is beyond, the unquantifiable Satchidananda. Is there any way you could explain what the causal body is in the Turiya?
No. Or only the text says neti neti. It's described as not this, not that. You'll have to sit in the kitchen with Nanda and discuss it a little further.
We have a question from Sharanya.
Yes, Sharanya, namaste.
Pranam. In verse 45, can you describe how we should focus attention on that which is changeless? Is this verse describing focus on the changeless aspect of the goddess like Durga, or an ideal like the Guru?
Well, you could use either way. You could take the murti or you could take the concept. And then you bring it to its highest ultimate culmination where you move beyond. You move beyond the form. You move beyond that which changes. So start with a form that doesn't change. The form that represents and symbolizes the ultimate perfection for you. And then take that form and hold it steady and still and don't let it change until you enter into that form. And you become that form. And the form enters into you. And you move beyond the form. And that's the process. Please.
We have a question from Elise.
Yeah, namaste, Elise.
Is it unrealistic to believe that reciting the verses can lead one to less ignorant choices?
No, it is totally realistic, and that's why we are studying them. We're studying these verses and we're studying this text because we want inspiration and information on how we can organize our lives around a sankalpa, around a plan that's designed to achieve our aspirations. First, we must define what are our goals and what are we trying to accomplish. And then we can describe how we propose to get there. And then we can determine which actions are part of the plan and which actions are extraneous. And then we can move with conviction, step by step, to the ultimate attainment of our goals. And that's just what this text is telling us. Whether it be a physical goal or a metaphysical goal, whether it be the sankalpa to do the puja or the sankalpa to achieve success in the world, either way, in everything we do, we're going to follow the same procedure. This text and the study of this text will inspire us and inform us as to how we can implement such a procedure in defining our lives. What are we about? What's my life about? Where am I going? What am I trying to accomplish? I'm not just trying to survive. I must be trying to accomplish something. Tell me what it is. And then we can make a path or a plan. How do we get there? And it's yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. And then we'll take step by step. Where do you want to go? And that process holds true. Pratamam Shailaputricha, the first is the goddess of inspiration. Dvitiyam Brahmacharini, and then you start learning about that which you love. Tritiyam Chandagante Kushi, you start to practice what knowledge you achieve. Kushmandeti Chaturthakam, and then you refine that practice until you become good at it. Whether you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an Indian chief, the process is exactly the same, whether it's a physical goal or a metaphysical goal. And that's what this study, and that's what this text, and that's what these scriptures are going to inform us. They're going to inspire us and educate us on how we create that sense of sankalpa, that sense of commitment with a capital C, so that we move with conviction. We know where we're going. And we don't waste time, and we don't waste energy, and we don't waste resources. We go effectively and efficiently through the process that we've already discovered worked for others, and it could work for us too. Yes, please.
We have a question from Moshami and Siddharth.
Namaste, Moshami. Namaste, Siddharth.
Pranam. During the Panchakritya process, does a specific combination of the 5 elements produce individuals who possess vairagya? And it becomes easier for them to be a sadhu? Can sadhana and intense desire in one's life decide that specific combination for the next life?
Absolutely. Moshami, what we do today is going to prepare for what the way we sow our seeds today is going to be define or determine the type of harvest that we receive tomorrow. We understand there's a law of karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. And you're going to enjoy the fruit of your karma, whether you like it or not. So it's not limited to this one lifetime. And obviously, if you sow the seeds of Vairagya, if you sow the seeds of Dharma, if you sow the seeds of Tapasya, you're going to take birth, as Sri Krishna said, you're going to take birth in a family of yogis, and you're going to come at an early age to the Devi Mandir, where you'll meet the Divine Mother Shrima, and she will inspire you and educate you and put you on the path and feed you and nourish you and house you and clothe you until you get to where you want to go. Yes, please.
We have a question from Jennifer.
Namaste, Jennifer Ma.
In relation to verse 13,
Yes, please.
wisdom cuts the knots of the heart while action makes this possible. I can see how wisdom brings clarity and insight, but how does action make this possible? There are instances when I am uncertain of the right or wise action. Doesn't wisdom come before action?
Not necessarily. Sometimes it comes in the midst of action. But actually, we define wisdom as the application of truth to circumstances. So therefore, we're confronted with circumstances and we have a multitude of experience. And we know we've collected so many various truths through our experiences. And we discussed in Nyaya philosophy that there are various forms of Praman, there are various forms of proof that we're going to use to describe what is truth for us. Remember, Pontius Pilate said, what is truth? Well, we know. You can use deductive logic, you can use inductive logic, you can use testimony, and you can use direct empirical experience, and then you add to that, you add to that intuitive experience. And these are the 5 kinds. One is you see it, you saw it, you tasted it, you smelled it, you empirically perceived that it's true. The second is the Guru said, do it this way, dummy. This is the way to do it. The third is you reasoned logically. You said, oh, this is the thesis, this is the antithesis, this will be the synthesis. And the fourth is you ascribed, you saw a universal principle present in a multitude of phenomena which were all behaving in the same way. And then you said, I will attribute a universal principle. I'll ascribe an idea to all the various forms that are manifesting the same attributes. And the fifth was you had an intuitive experience. So when you had all these kinds of experience and all these forms of knowledge and all these forms of proof that this is true, if you apply that truth to your present experience, to your present endeavor, you are actually exemplifying wisdom. If you know what's true and what's right, what's going to be used to evolve a greater harmony, then you are wise. So through both knowledge and action work together. Your knowledge informs your action, and your action gives rise to greater knowledge. Yes, please.
We have a question from Usha.
Namaste, Usha.
Namaste. Thank you for this wonderful teaching. Could you please speak a little more about verse 40? With an attitude of intensity, one should deeply meditate on the form of my soul.
Well, very difficult to elucidate. Do you see, with an intensity, I mean, you're a real sincerity, a vyakulata, an absolute conviction, with a total surrender, a total presence of mind. You should meditate upon the universal consciousness, upon the Divine Mother, which is omnipresent, and all wisdom, and all light, and all love. In this way, we will come into that harmony, into that unity, and that's what we're striving to achieve. So with an attitude of intensity, not lukewarm, not half-baked, not just a part of your mind, not, gee, I'm going to meditate on the Divine Mother, but maybe I'll go to the movie a little later. Not with a bifurcated mind, not with various thoughts, not with the telephone ringing, not with the kids screaming, not with all this other stuff going on, but with one pointed attention. We want to meditate upon the supreme form of divinity. And then we move into samadhi. When we can make all as the measurement of my mind, or the measurement of my mind is all, we can move into the relationship with that supreme divinity. Otherwise, we're working towards the goal. There is a very interesting that the path and the destination are defined by the same term. We talk about meditation. And the practice of meditation is distinct from the fact of meditation. Because when you're practicing meditation, you keep bringing your mind back. Every time it wants to walk out and stroll about and think of other thoughts and daydream, go to the movies, we bring it back and say, okay, mind, come on back. There's something really neat happening here. But then one day we come to an intensity, a greater intensity of absorption. And that greater intensity of absorption produces the fact of meditation, which is distinct from the practice of meditation. And I hope you can understand the difference. Yes, please.
We have a question from Vivekananda.
Namaste, Vivek. That's just what we need, is a little more Vivek.
Namaste. Can you please explain why the Devi is explaining that we should keep a tight rein on our mind, but in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says to Krishna that controlling the mind is nigh impossible? How do we reconcile this fantastic difference? Do we control or rein in the mind, or do we renounce it? How does one control the mind through the mind, or renounce the mind through the mind? And the mind is also Maya, so it seems it is a precarious situation. How can we do anything at all if the mind is Maya?
We're going to use the Maya to attain the Maya by controlling the little Mayas and all that was born as the manifestations of Maya. So we're going to use the mind to create a thought most glorious and most sublime and most attractive to us. For example, I conceive the image of the Divine Mother. I conceive her in the murti, or in the form of my guru, Srima. And I look at that mind, and I look at that picture, and I look at that image, and that becomes the image that I bhavayit. I deeply intuit the image of divinity, which to me takes precedence over all the other thoughts. And with that intensity of absorption, I use the bigger Maya to control the little Maya until I become one with that form and one with that picture, one with that image. And then I move beyond the image into titiksha, into turiya, beyond satchit ananda. So you use the Maya to move beyond the Maya. You use the mind to hold it still. You make one thought and prohibit all the other thoughts. Bring your mind back to the one thought that is most glorious. Gu karas twanda karascha. Ru karas tejas uchate. The syllable gu is the darkness and ru is the light. And what do you want to look at? Do you want to look at the darkness of many forms? Or do you want to look at the illumination of one form? That will be your guru. And that form will take precedence over all the little forms, all the other ideas, all the other thoughts that move around and keep calling, won't you look at me? No. Yes, please.
We have a question from Nanda.
Namaste, Nandama.
Sometimes we are ignorant of our ignorance. How do we get rid of that ignorance?
Nanda, my suggestion would be to associate with people who are smart. Hang out with the best. You're going to become like those with whom you associate. If you associate with drug people, you'll become druggies. If you associate with drinkers, you'll become drinker. If you associate with dharma bums, you'll become a dharma bum. If you associate with business people, you'll become businesslike. You're going to be like the people you associate with, then choose your friends wisely. Just think about what you want to become. Who are the examples that you want to follow? Choose your friends wisely and then associate with the best. And that's how you become aware. Hey, I don't want to be ignorant. I don't want to be foolish. I don't want to make bad decisions. So choose your friends wisely and associate with the best. And you'll become aware of the ignorance of which you were otherwise unaware.
We have a question from Julia.
Namaste, Julia Ma.
Namaste. Hearing yours and Ma's voices within us, and seeing you all within our minds, and recalling teachings, and feeling your presence as we do our lives and practices, is this the contemplation that this chapter is discussing?
This is one of the contemplations. However, it says move from the Annamaya Kosh, the world of matter, to the Pranamaya Kosh, the world of breath, to the Manamaya Kosh, to the world of thoughts, to the Vijnanamaya Kosh, the world of light, wisdom, to the Anandamaya Kosh, which is Satchit Ananda. Contemplate your guru and listen to her voice and picture how would she act and react in these circumstances. And thereafter, picture how she wouldn't act. And picture her stillness. And picture her form of divinity. And when you have that image, picture her radiating light. And then when you see that light, picture Satchit Ananda. And it has no limitations. And it gets bigger and brighter and better and more pronounced and more demonstrable as you approach the limits of infinity. So yes, it is talking about the image of the Guru, but it's also talking about the light of the Guru and the light of pure consciousness.
We have a question from Ambika.
Namaste, Ambika.
Referring to what you said about verse 5, in verse 5 says, again, because all actions performed during these births, he collects numerous tendencies which cause him to wear various bodies without end, and always he experiences pleasures and pains. So many people have a negative or distorted image of their body, bringing them a great deal of pain. I understand the body is a container, and we are not the container. What steps would you advise to someone to take in order to begin to heal the relationship they have with their physical body?
I would say begin with the processes of yoga. Chitta vritti nirodh, iti yoga. That's the prohibition, the cessation of all changes and modifications in the objects of awareness. Now, the first step of yoga is yam, take control. You take control of your body, your mind, and your soul by choosing your goals, defining your goals, for defining the purpose of your visit to this body. What is your objective? What are your aspirations? What do you want life to look like when you're looking back? In 100 years from now, when you look back on what you accomplished in this life, where do you want to be? Niyam, make a discipline, make a budget, make all the steps and make a plan. How are you going to achieve that goal? And how are you going to achieve the multifarious goals that you have on the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body? Asan, sit down. Take a look on our website. Adityananda has stood on his head and rolled over tied himself up like a pretzel in order to show you different states of health, where you can be flexible in your body and in your spirit. We've taken pictures and given instruction on different processes and practices that you can do in order to put your body and your breath and your mind into a harmony. These will be ways that you can get to love yourself. This is all part of the plan. Yam, niyam, pranayam, asan, pranayam. Put your breath in harmony in every asana. We don't even have to talk about the other 4 steps of pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi until we've accomplished the first 4. If you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, and you're our age, then you better find out fast, because the ideal of samadhi is just another concept. We have to first put our life into harmony, put our goals into harmony, make a plan, and then go ahead and make a budget and proceed on achieving those goals.
We have a question from Sadhana Shakti.
Namaste, Sadhana Shakti.
Verse 36 says, when the soul is united with the organs of knowledge and action in the mind, then it becomes the enjoyer of all experience. Is it referring to the soul? This is a bit confusing. Could you please
Yes,
clarify?
it is referring to the soul. When the soul is united with your senses, then who sees? Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. I am the seer. I am seeing, and therefore it, the soul, thinks itself to be the doer. It thinks it is the doer of good actions or the doer of bad actions. So it is referring to the soul. Yes, please.
We have a question from Vivekananda.
Namaste, Vivek.
Can you please explain the proper settings, mode, and method of performing jop of Hreem? Do we have to pass a test in order to attempt and then succeed at this? Or is there only certain people who are even qualified at all?
No, we are all authorized to practice. But amongst those who practice, only a few will succeed in actually meditating. We've been, the last few weeks, we've been using Hreem in the Chandi. And we've been meditating on Hreem in the Cosmic Puja. And we use Hreem in the Devi Gita. And we use Hreem. Wow, we just did the trilogy. We did the Chandi, the Cosmic Puja, and the Devi Gita. We use just the mantra Hreem all through our lives, all through our practices. So even within your Nabarna mantra, you have Hreem, Om Eng Ring Kling, Chamundai Biche. You've got the meditation of Hreem within the Nabarna mantra. Yes, please.
We have a question from Jennifer.
Yes, Jennifer, please.
In relation to verse 33, it says, it does not kill, nor can it be killed. When someone or something is killed in the material world, who or what is doing the killing? Is it simply nature acting according to its nature?
Unfortunately, Jennifer, that's true, because it here is referring to the soul, and the soul is not the actor. So the soul is the witness of all action. The soul doesn't perform action, it doesn't kill it, and it's not killed. The soul is eternal. So all you're doing is changing, you're causing bringing about the change in the form of the body. From a dancing body that was alive and well to a corpse, which is not so alive and well, which will again become a dancing body who is alive and well. And if you know that it is not slain, nor is it the slayer, then it is just manifesting according to its nature, according to the nature of the forms that it assumes. You try to cultivate the sanskaras, the tendencies, the propensities, so that when you come into the next manifestation, you'll have a more propitious, a more auspicious incarnation. You can move closer to God at each succeeding manifestation. Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste.